So when playing CS, you probably make way more noise than you actually should, and you probably don't know about it, or think that maybe your opponents don't hear you, which they probably do, or maybe you know that you make noise and you think that you can't do anything about it, and I can show you now that you probably can. So the first step towards you actually becoming a ninja is to know how to actually climb up to ladders. So the two main mistakes I see is either they make noise, or they're way too slow, or sometimes they even manage to combine both. So you can actually go up without making noise at all and while being quick at the same time. So I've actually already made a video and addressed how to climb ladders quickly, so it's gonna be in the top right corner of your screen right now. And basically the idea is that you angle yourself like this and press, instead of only W, press W and the adequate directional key, so like this. And while that is quick, you actually do make noise while doing it, as you can probably hear. So how do you actually do it without making any noise and with maintaining basically most of your speed? So the idea is that when you first start climbing, you can actually hear, in the first few steps you take, you can actually hear that there's basically no noise, so like this. And what you want to do is interchangeably climb, stop, climb, stop, climb, stop, and climb and stop. I did it slowly, but you probably heard that I made no noise. So the best part about this is that no matter how quickly you stop and continue, if you do it in proper timings, you're still gonna make no noise. So technically you can actually be almost as fast as with the actual climbing method, just depending on how quickly you press the keys. And when done properly, it should look and sound something like this. So as you could have seen, I basically made no noise, and I climbed up way quicker than I would have ever climbed if I actually pressed shift or held shift while climbing. The second thing is, you should probably stop making noise when going down ladders, or stop being slow like a snail. And what people usually do is, if they want to be silent, they kind of just go down ladders normally, but while holding shift. And while this isn't incorrect, you actually waste way more time than you would think, and you maybe lose the timing with this. And as you know, going down ladders in general without holding shift is pretty noisy. So while you can use the same method that we just used for climbing to actually descend like this and make no noise, I believe there's an even quicker method, and it can look even nicer. So the idea is that you go down the ladder while actually falling, and then pick up on the ladder at the last second and just go off the ladder. You can basically not be quicker than this, because this is just gravity working, and the bigger the ladder, the more acceleration you're actually gonna have and the quicker you're gonna be down it. But if you've never seen this before, you probably assume it's either difficult or just inconsistent, and it's neither of those things. So the first step is actually to know how to go down like I did without catching the ladder while being simultaneously inside of the ladder basically. So the idea is that if you don't hold any directional key in front of a ladder while falling, you're not gonna catch onto it. And the way you do that is by actually not ever having a directional key pointed at the ladder in the first place while falling. So if you didn't understand anything I just said, don't worry, I'm gonna show you a demonstration. So the idea is to fall off this ledge and release any directional key that you're using. In my case, it's gonna be W, because I'm going forward into the ladder immediately after you fall, and it's gonna ideally look something like this. And by the way, I'm gonna have keystrokes somewhere on the screen so you can see what I'm actually doing with my keyboard. I'm not sure where they're gonna be, but they're gonna be there. And I didn't release shift at any point, so I just kind of released W and kept holding everything else, which is basically shift and my mouse. And then after you master the technique of actually going down the ladder without clipping the ladder itself, the next step is just to press W the moment you kind of feel like you're gonna touch the ground. So you can, it's pretty lenient in the sense that you're not gonna make noise going off the ladder within like the last 3-4 steps, I guess. So it's gonna look something like this. If you have a ladder like this, which is kind of sideways and you can't really approach it properly, you can do one of two things. So the first thing, you can just kind of go forwards, but it's gonna be a much harder timing to actually release the W key, but you can do it anyway, so it's gonna look something like this. Or you can do it with a sideways key, which is the same principle as W key, but it's gonna be kind of weird if you're used to the W key. So it's gonna look something like this. Alright, so maybe you've seen someone, maybe someone in your games, maybe a professional player, like in this example. Go down Tetris on Nuke without making any noise, or it doesn't have to be Tetris on Nuke, there are many spots on many maps like this, and you probably tried it yourself, only to see or to hear, that it makes not one, but two steps, which anyone on the map can hear, and it's pretty bad. So I'm gonna play you back that clip of Hunter doing it in slow motion and tell me if you can see what's going on. Alright, so if you still don't see, I'm gonna help you a little bit. This first box, you can fall off onto it without making any noise, but this second one, so from this box to this one below me, the height difference is way too big, so it triggers the jump sound or the drop sound. So just like this. So what Hunter does is he crouches on this box, and the moment his player model, or the moment he goes off this box, so the moment he actually becomes airborne, I guess, is the moment where he releases crouch, and it goes something like this. And he makes no noise. The next box, also the height difference is way too small, so you're not gonna make any noise. But from this box onto the floor, you can also make noise, as you've probably heard, so the same principle applies. And when done quickly, in like the heat of the moment, I guess, it looks something like this. And just for the sake of showing you that there's more spots like this, there's this one on Mirage where if you drop normally you make noise, while if you do this method, you don't make noise.